Objectives, competencies, and KPIs are all part of the competency management involved, more specifically, the performance management. Let's start with our first item, which is the performance settings. In here, we have several checkbox items that are listed in a very user-friendly format. Let's have a look at the performance levels we have. In here, we have several levels created earlier. Let's have a look at one of them. So here we can see that we have the performance levels group name, and then after that we can have more specifications and details regarding the increase type, the scores, and everything. We can create a new one from here and basically follow the same method in order to end up with a performance level regarding the year 2022. Notice that in here we're going to add a performance level. For example, let's say unsatisfactory. We're going to select the from to ranges and the increase type, which is the amount. And after that, we're just going to repeat the same thing for the other performance levels. The next step would be the recommendations. So in here, recommendations are like bonuses, warnings, promotions, training courses, and notice that they are displayed in both English and Arabic language. Let's add a new recommendation name to see how it's done. After that, we're going to go to the performance definitions to link everything that has been created earlier. So for example, here we can link the promotion requirement with the level that is created. Same thing applies for the raise requirement, training, cash payment. Now let's go to the company goal and objective definitions. We're going to create a new one. We're going to create the company objective name in English and Arabic. We're going to set the weight of the objective based on the employee's appraisal, and then we're going to select the start date and end date. So here, let's say we set 10% for the weight of the total objective and employee's appraisal. And now we're just going to create the objectives. We're going to put the weight, and after we're done, we're going to link them with the KPIs. Notice that here the total objective weights must not exceed 100. So we set them as 25, 40, and 35, which equals 100. After that, we're going to move to the second tab in order to create KPIs and link them with the objectives that are created earlier. And now we're gonna link them with the objectives. Notice that everything is related and connected here. So for example, 25% out of 100 is 25 as the score. When we change that to 50, so 25% of 50 is 12.5. We can even select more than one KPI at the same time so that everything gets summed up and is calculated accordingly. Now let's move to the second step, which is the organizational objectives. This is the list of the definitions which are previously created. Let's create a new one. We're going to name it as the organization goals example 1, and we set the percent as 5%. And now we're just going to create an objective example and link it with the KPI, just like the previous example we saw earlier. After that, we're going to link the KPIs in here, and notice again how the objective weight and the score are related. Again, if we want to select more than one KPI, that is also possible. Next, we're gonna go to the general objectives. We're gonna create a new one, and we are going to set the weight as 5%. The name of our objective is general objective. And now we're going to link everything we just created in the employee objectives. We can select one employee or more than one employee. For our example, we're just going to select one employee, and we are going to link all the items previously created. This gives us 10% for the company objective weight, 5% for the organizational one, and 5% for the general objectives weight, which leaves us with 80%. Now we're going to go to the job structure. In order to divide the competencies into 20% technical competency and another 20% for the behavioral competency. And we're going to go back to the employees' objectives. And notice here that we have 40% now for personal objectives. We are basically adding the general objectives using any of the three methods we have, which are either the general objective groups, text, or retrieving them from the job structure. Next, notice how here in the competency we can have 40% available. Those are divided into behavioral competency and technical competency. This 20%, of course, is divided based on the items that are in there. Next, we have our KPIs for the employee objectives. And we have 5% for the general objectives. Now, to make the process simpler and straightforward, we're going to delete all personal objectives and we're just going to create one. Give it a 100% weight. This will allow us to have just one item in the KPI tab. So here in the employee objectives, we can just see the one we created now, and we can add as much KPIs in here we want. Notice that here we can have a mid-year review, which is basically used to just allow employees to know how they're doing in case they want to change anything, make it right before the actual appraisal takes place. So basically this comes as the last step. Performing appraisal takes place, and we can see that here, based on our example, the performance level is exceed. Now we're going to select the recommendation which matches the result, which is, for example, a promotion. We can add notes, we can add a recommended objectives for next year and save.